Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on DC TV and the Arrowverse, because we got another video on Crisis on Infinite Earths to, well, go over. So we are 3 parts into the epic 5-part Crisis on Infinite Earths event. I guess you could say we're halfway through, even though 3 out of 5 is more than half. And though we have to wait around a month until we get those final 2 parts in mid-January, January 14th to be exact, there's actually some, some stuff to talk about from events in the first 3 parts. Now, throughout the crossover, whether it be right at the beginning of Part 1, whether it be the opening shot, all the way through to the end of Part 3, and we will potentially see more in Parts 4 and 5, we saw different Earths across the multiverse, which makes sense. It'd be weird if we did Crisis on Infinite Earths and didn't, visit other Earths. Now, for some, we were with them for only seconds as they were then swallowed and destroyed by the wave of antimatter that had been looming throughout the whole event, and in some cases we spent a fair bit of time with them and we got to learn more about what specifically happened on that Earth compared to Earths we are more familiar with. So in this video I thought we would go over all the Earths that we visited in the first 3 parts, the new Earths in the first 3 parts of Crisis, and go over what all of them were referring to, either with their Earth numbers or just the history laid out throughout, the story when we were there with the characters. But before we jump in the video, it would be awesome if you could let me know in the comment section down below throughout the video your general thoughts, but also let me know which of these was your favorite cameo. That's what I'm actually interested. If you could let me know that, that'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're just looking forward to what happens in Crisis as well when we come back, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support and hype. But just to make it a bit easier to keep track of things, we are going to go through all the Earths as they appeared in the Crisis crossover. So I won't start with some from parts 2 or 3 and then go back to part 1 and then back and forth and stuff. Let's just go through them as they appeared. It just makes it easier for me and hopefully easier for you to look back at if you were planning on doing that. But we first started the crossover when we went to Earth 89, where we see a guy reading a newspaper with the title Batman Captures Joker. Now this is actually Alexander Knox, played by Robert Wuhl from the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie, and that is the reason for this particular Earth number of 89. The 1989 Batman continuity exists here. Obviously, we were led to believe the Joker died in the 1989 Batman movie, but apparently not. So there you go. Now next up we had Earth 9. Now this is where we headed to San Francisco, California, and saw 2 members of the Titans TV series that airs on DCU or the DC Universe streaming service. Now there are 2 members, of course, there, that being, of course, Hawk or Hank Hall and the Jason Todd Robin. Now in regards to Earth 9, like that being the number and the designation, I don't think there is any major reason that I'm aware of as to why they are on Earth 9. I mean, DCU Titans has 9 letters in it. I think I said that in a previous video when we were first talking about them being there. So that might be why it was given the designation of Earth 9. In the comics, Earth 9 is like an Earth where the heroes are much different than what we're used to. Like there is a female Flash known as Leah Nelson, who we actually saw a version of in the Flash last season. She was the one that got yeeted by Godspeed. And the Atom over there is like their Superman, which I guess sort of fits with the Arrowverse thing, with the whole like Brandon Routh situation. Anyway, we then head to Earth 66. This is where we see an older version of Dick Grayson, the former Robin. We were led to believe it was just Burt Ward playing Burt Ward, but it was confirmed by Guggenheim that this was in fact an older Dick Grayson. And this is when we see him, see red skies and yell at "Holy Crimson Skies of Death." Now, the number of Earth 66 is in reference to the Batman TV show from back in the day, which started in 1966. I think even the Batman movie back then was in 1966 as well. And I'm sure if Adam West, who played Bruce Wayne or Batman back then, was still alive, we would have got to see a scene with both of them together, which would have been very cool. But unfortunately, he did pass away a couple of years ago. Now, Earth 16. Now, this is where we went through the multiverse. Obviously, this is where baby Jonathan Kent had landed when he went through a sort of like a wormhole black portal thing when escaping Argo. Now, this is where we met a familiar version of Oliver Queen, like an older familiar version. I guess it's a familiar version if you had watched Legends of Tomorrow in the past in season 1. If you hadn't, then you wouldn't have no clue about this guy. And this was on an Earth set in the year 2046, just like we visited where they're in Legends of Tomorrow season 1. However, even though it was insinuated earlier that this was the same place that the Legends went to, that they had, traveled the multiverse in the past, like that was a big reveal then. When we arrived there, it was made evident that that wasn't really the case, and that Sarah had died on the Gambit on this Earth, hadn't survived, anything like that, come back, and then left again, which was what happened apparently according to future Oliver back in Legends Season 1. And this is an Earth where metas weren't really a thing, so this sort of showed like what a lifetime of vigilante work just straight up vigilante work without any of the metas. Without any of the crazy stuff, this is what it leads to. In regards to Earth 16, like the number designation, I believe that is in reference to the episode number from when we first visited 2046 in Legends, that being Season 1, Episode 6 of Legends of Tomorrow. That is probably what they're going for there, in my opinion, so I'm going to go with that because that actually makes sense to me, and it lines up with how they usually come up with the number designations in regards to these little cameos and stuff like that. Now, we do visit Earth 74 to retrieve a Wave Rider for our heroes to use, because apparently the legends from Earth 1 don't want to be in the crossover, which, random there. But when we go to Earth 74, we see that this, Wave Rider also has a version of Mick Rory, aka Heatwave, on board, as well as Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold, as its version of Gideon, which was a very nice surprise cameo. But Earth 74 really has no significance in regards to why it was labelled that. Maybe the year 1974 was significant for someone involved here. I looked up the characters and stuff. All these characters debuted much earlier. So I don't know. I did have a look online and I couldn't really find anything. So that one is a bit of a bust. But if you do know, like I was saying earlier in the video, let me know in the comments what you think Earth 74 might be referring to. But I'm unsure. But in regards to Earths in the numbers of 70-something, we headed over to Earth 75. And this is where we briefly see the Earth 38 version of Lois and Clark trying to locate that Earth Superman due to what Lex Luthor's doing. And this is when they see a TV news broadcast reporting that Earth Superman has already been killed. Now, this broadcast is referencing the famous Death of Superman artwork of Lois Lane holding Superman's dead body by Dan Jurgens, pretty much exactly like the comic. And this is the reason that this Earth is actually Earth 75. The Death of Superman was issue number 75. So there's the Earth designation number reference. Earth 99 is where we get the Kevin Conroy future Batman stuff, or older Bruce Wayne stuff, if you want to call it. Now, they mix some of the Kingdom Come stuff in here as well, but change it from being Bane, like that sort of is the one to mess him up, and put him in the exoskeleton suit, to actually being caused by a fight with Superman that, did that. But also, this Batman ends up killing that Superman as well as most of his rogues gallery, from what we can gather. Now, Earth 99 is a reference to the Batman Beyond show, which started airing in, you've guessed it, 1999, which is actually 20 years ago. So yeah, that's the reference there. Even though there was a lot of other little Easter eggs to Batman stuff in regards to the Earth designation, that's the big Easter egg. Earth 167, this is the Earth that a lot of people are looking forward to going to, not because of the number, just because of who was on it. And this is the Smallville Earth, where we find out that the Clark Kent on this Earth has decided to give up his powers, presumably with gold kryptonite. It wasn't said, but we have to presume that. And this is in order to have children with Lois Lane and live a happy life on the Kent farm with his family. Now, the Earth number of 167 is in reference to Al Gough, who was a showrunner for Smallville, who was born in 1967. This was confirmed by Mark Guggenheim, who was the showrunner for Crisis. So that's the reference there. Earth 96 was one of the Earths a lot of people were looking forward to going to as well. Once again, not because of the number, but because of who was on it. So Earth 96 is the Earth in which we see the Brandon Routh Superman return. And as we know, this is the same Superman from the 2006 film, Superman Returns. Which also means that this is the same version of Superman that was portrayed by Christopher Reeves in the 1978 film and then the sequels. Now, for those who don't know, they sort of wiped Superman 3 and 4 from canon when Superman Returns came out. However, this Superman in Crisis from Earth 96 does reference events from, I think it's Superman 3, so make of that what you will. But in regards to the Earth number of 96, that is in reference to the year 1996, which is the year in which the Kingdom Come Elseworld story came out. Now, this story portrays a world with older heroes and newer heroes, and we see like a civil war take place. Now, for those that aren't too familiar with comics, or at least the history of comics, Marvel pretty much straight up copied Kingdom Come, and that is where their Civil War storyline came of. Now, this, of course, we saw a movie of a few years ago. Obviously, there is copying from both sides, but this is one of the major examples people use when they bring up the two companies copying each other when it comes to storylines. But of course, this Superman we see in Crisis is heavily based off the Kingdom Come version of Superman, completely complete with the look as well as the backstory with the gassing of the Daily Planet by the Joker, who is referenced as the Reject from Gotham in the episode. Now, Earth 18 is the Earth where we are able to find a functioning Lazarus pit in an attempt to bring Oliver back to life after being killed towards the end of part 1. Now, it is here where we meet an alternate version of Jonah Hex, who hasn't had the incident take place where he gets his facial scars and all of that, even though Sarah Lance makes sure to, give them to him. Now, Earth 18 is set in the Wild West, so that 18 would most likely be in reference to this Earth being set in the 1800s. They also could have made it Earth 19 to stand for the 19th century, but Earth 19 was already taken from The Flash in the storyline they did previously. Earth 203 is the Earth we kick off part 3 on, and this is where we see the Huntress from the Birds of Prey TV show from almost 20 years ago, running along the rooftops of New Gotham City. Now we can hear her talking to the Oracle or Barbara Gordon of this Earth over their communications, but we aren't with this group for too long, or the Earth for too long, as they are engulfed by the antimatter wave fairly quickly. Now Earth 203 would stand for 2003, which is the year in which the show ended or was cancelled, or the 2 could stand for February and the 03 for the year of 2003, as that is when it ended as well, February of 2003. Either way, it works. And finally, Earth 666 is where we head to Los Angeles, California, complete with a Watchmen Easter egg on a billboard in the bottom right-hand corner, where we do see Mia, Diggle, and Constantine, or Constantine, meet up with Lucifer Morningstar, where he assists them with the retrieval of Oliver's soul. Well, the attempted retrieval. Now, Earth 666, I mean, it's obvious. 666, the number of the beast, the devil. I don't think I have to say any more here. But seeing the multiverse is gone, and should be gone for good, we shouldn't really expect any more Earth cameos, but who knows, if anything you're expecting hero cameos rather than Earth cameos, but we may be surprised in parts 4 and 5 when we return in around a month's time, so who knows. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on the video. If you have any corrections or you just say, let me know what your favorite cameo was. That'd be interesting. What was your favorite cameo? That's probably the thing you can let me know in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.